Today I want to talk about a really interesting topic, and that is how to be in a relationship with someone who has a borderline personality disorder. Interestingly, there is really high interest in narcissistic personality disorder these days, but borderline personality disorder has times and times higher prevalence across the population, and it is extremely challenging to be in a relationship with someone who has this disorder. So in today's video I'm going to give an exact and accurate definition and criterions of BPD according to the DSM-5, which is the Bible of all psychologists and psychiatrists. But I will explain each criterion with real-life examples and tell you how each criterion manifests in relationships. My name is Darina and I'm doing my psychology postgrad in Australia. Let's get started. So what is BPD? Simply saying, it is a consistent pattern of unstable relationships, self-image, emotions, and impulsive actions that starts in early adulthood and occurs in various situations, followed by 5 or more of the following criteria. What are those criteria? And criterion 1 is frantic efforts to avoid real or imagined abandonment. They are extremely sensitive to their surroundings and can experience intense fear of being left alone or rejected. Even minor separations or changes in plans can trigger strong emotions and reactions. For example, they might panic or become very angry if their partner is just a few minutes late or cancels an appointment or meeting, catch up. They might interpret these situations as a sign that they are unworthy or bad. These fears of abandonment are linked to their inability to tolerate being alone and their strong need to have others around them. And for the partner, say if you are in a relationship with someone who has BPD, it might feel like walking on eggshells, because you need to be extremely careful with your words and with your actions and make sure that you are never late, give plenty of notice and have solid arguments and reassurance to avoid triggering intense emotional reactions. And of course, this could be really emotionally draining. And criterion number 2 is a pattern of unstable and intense relationships. They might absolutely idolize a new romantic partner, quickly becoming attached and sharing intimate details early on. However, their feelings can rapidly shift from idealizing these people to devaluing them, believing that they are not caring enough, not giving enough, or not available enough. So this is exactly the case. I love you and I hate you relationship. And by the way, this is also the reason why people like that are really attractive to be in a relationship with, at least at the beginning, because they're extremely lively, emotional. It feels like nothing that you experienced before. And then one of a sudden, boom, another pole, and you are super confused and you start swinging on these emotional swings. And exactly as in the case with a relationship with a narcissist, where a person does these emotional swings or emotional roller coaster deliberately, it does make you fall in love as you've been real high and then you dropped to your lowest. You've been devalued and you are like, what I have done wrong? I want this high back again. And you most likely will get it. However, as I said, in comparison with narcissistic personality disorder, when a person deliberately does these hot-cold showers, a person with BPD does not do it on purpose. This is just how they feel. Also, while they can empathize with and support others, they often do so with the expectation that the other person will always be there to meet their needs on demand. These individuals are prone to sudden and dramatic changes in how they view others, seeing them either as supportive and benevolent or as harsh as punitive. We still have a few more criteria to go through, so sit tight. By the way, criterion number 5 is really sad and disturbing and probably the hardest to deal with in a relationship. Also, please hit the like button if you are getting value from this video. This will really help me as a new creator to develop this channel. So, criterion number 3 is that people with borderline personality disorder often have a very unstable self-image or sense of self. In relationships with people who do not suffer from BPD, it might look like you got married and your girlfriend is a caring, really nurturing homebody who loves baking and watching romantic comedies. It is just an example, guys. Yes, she can occasionally have another hobby that she tries, or she may have a few weeks of going out more often since it is a wedding season. But in general, her identity is the same. But with people who have BPD, they can have sudden and dramatic changes in their goals, values, and career plans. For example, today your girlfriend is a housewife and tomorrow she goes and cuts her hair short, decides that she wants to become an artist, but a week later she might go and enter university to become a doctor. So in general, they might frequently change their opinions about their career, sexual identity, values, and types of friends. One moment they might be asking for help and feeling very needy, and the next moment they might be seeking revenge for past mistreatment. Also, they often feel like they are bad or evil. Sometimes they might feel like they don't exist at all, especially when they don't have meaningful relationships or support. Criterion number 4 is impulsivity in at least 2 areas that are potentially self-damaging. They may gamble, spend money irresponsibly, binge eat, abuse substances, engage in unsafe sex, or drive recklessly. If you guys remember Amy Winehouse, I just recently watched the movie Back to Black, and she was demonstrating the majority of those symptoms of BPD, especially substance abuse, which eventually took her life. So her relationship with her husband felt so intense and so unbearable and so painful, especially when he left, that she was just trying to numb herself with substances. And all of it is connected to criterion number 5, which is that individuals with borderline personality disorder often engage in repeated suicidal behavior or suicide threats, as well as harming actions like cutting or burning. About 8-10% of these individuals may die by suicide and self-harming acts, because suicide attempts are very, very common. Therefore, it is very important, if you are in a relationship with the person who demonstrates such tendencies, you have to make sure that you know their diagnosis. Because, for example, and again, I will compare it with narcissistic personality disorder, narcissists can usually threat others with suicidal behavior in order to get what they want or to manipulate. But people with borderline personality disorder really feeling it. It's like the fear of rejection or abandonment is so unbearable that they would rather mutilate themselves or kill themselves than be able to bear it. If you guys remember yourself as a teenager, your first love, and those feelings when everything is black and white and everything feels like the end of the world, this is exactly the case for people with BPD. If you are trying to find a light side in all of it, their recurrent suicidal behavior is often what brings them to seek help. Otherwise, the person might live their life and just not know why they suffer so much, and their partner might do the same. Also, just to add regarding self-harm, this may happen during moments of dissociation and can provide relief by either confirming they can still feel it or by alleviating their sense of being evil. Criterion number 6 is that individuals with borderline personality disorder often experience intense mood swings due to their highly reactive emotions. This means they can quickly go from feeling very down, feeling irritable or anxious, to intense episodes of anger, panic, or despair, usually lasting a few hours and rarely more than a few days. They rarely have moments of true happiness or satisfaction. These mood swings are often triggered by interpersonal stress. Therefore, if you are in a relationship with someone with BPD, you have to learn 2 important skills. The first one is to be able to respond to such outbursts with empathy and simultaneously have strong boundaries to keep yourself sane and not take things really personally. Criterion 7 is that people with BPD often feel empty inside. They get bored easily and constantly look for activities to fill the void. This is why they often resort to drugs or alcohol. So if your partner has BPD, maybe it is a good idea to do a real meaningful hobby together to at least alleviate this criterion and have a stronger bond. Criterion 8 is that they frequently express intense and inappropriate anger or struggle to control their anger. For example, they might lash out with sarcasm, bitterness, or verbal outbursts, especially when they feel neglected or abandoned by a loved one. After these outbursts, they often feel ashamed and guilty, reinforcing their negative self-image. And criterion number 9 is that under extreme stress, individuals with BPD may experience brief episodes of paranoia or dissociation, where they feel detached from reality. These episodes are usually short-lived, lasting minutes to hours, and often occur in response to perceived abandonment. When the person they rely on returns or reassures them, these symptoms typically subside. It is also very important to mention that individuals with BPD often show specific patterns that support their diagnosis. They may undermine themselves just as they are about to achieve a goal, such as dropping out of school before graduation, or regressing in therapy when progress is made, or ruining a good relationship when it seems stable. During times of stress, they might experience psychotic-like symptoms such as hallucinations or body image distortion. They may feel more secure with pets or inanimate objects than with people. There is a high risk of premature death by suicide, particularly for those with co-occurring depression or substance abuse. Frequent job losses, interrupted education, and relationship breakdowns are common. Many individuals with BPD have childhood histories, including physical or sexual abuse, neglect, hostile conflict, or early loss of a parent. They often have other mental health issues such as depression, bipolar disorder, substance use disorder, eating disorder, especially bulimia, PTSD, ADHD, and other personality disorders. These features provide a broader understanding of the challenges faced by individuals with BPD. So you can see that borderline personality disorder is really difficult, not only for the partner but for the person itself. So therapy is a must. We know that the number one therapy that works for BPD is dialectical behavior therapy. And for partners, it can be any suitable therapy that serves your needs. If you want to know how narcissistic personality disorder manages itself in a relationship, hit here to watch this video. Look after yourself and your loved ones, and I will see you next time.